Hello, friends. Welcome to this story. This story is made for people who are learning English. If you are trying to improve your English, you are in the right place. This video will help you understand English better. It is written in easy English, so you can listen and learn without stress. The words are simple and the sentences are short. You can read along or just listen. Both will help you grow. Many people feel shy when they speak English. They worry about grammar or pronunciation. Some people stop learning because they feel slow. But remember this, learning takes time. You don't need to be perfect, you only need to keep going. And one of the best ways to learn English is through stories. Stories are powerful. They help you feel, imagine, and remember words easily. This story is called The Road to Dreams, Emily's Journey from Dust to Sky. It is an emotional and motivational story. It is about a young girl named Emily. She came from a small town. Her family was poor. Life was not easy for her. But she had one big dream. She wanted to fly. She wanted to become a pilot. People around her said it was impossible, but she believed in herself and kept going, step by step. This story will teach you two things. First, it will help you learn English in a simple and natural way. Second, it will give you hope. It will show you that dreams can come true even when the road is hard. So relax. Listen carefully, and enjoy the journey of Emily. Let this story help you learn English and believe in your dreams. Emily was a quiet girl with bright eyes and a calm voice. She lived in a very small town in the United States. The town had one school, one small grocery store, and one dusty road that ran through the middle. Everyone knew everyone. People lived simple lives. They worked, ate, prayed, and slept. No one talked about big dreams. Most people stayed in the town their whole life. They never left. They never thought of flying. But Emily was different. Her home was small, made of wood, with a tin roof that made noise when it rained. Her room was tiny, with a single bed, a wooden chair, and a small window that looked up at the sky. Her family didn't have much. Her father worked long hours in the fields. His hands were always rough. His skin was tanned from the sun. Her mother cleaned other people's houses. She would come home tired, her back aching, but she never complained. They didn't have a car. They didn't have a computer. They didn't even have a washing machine. But they had love. Emily never asked for toys or money. She never cried for expensive things. But in her heart, she carried something bigger than all of that, a dream. She didn't know where it came from. No one in her family had ever traveled. No one had even been on a plane. But Emily often looked at the sky and imagined herself flying. She didn't want to sit in a plane. She wanted to fly it. She wanted to sit in the pilot's seat and hold the controls with her own hands. One hot afternoon, while sitting outside her house, something happened that changed her life. She was drawing shapes in the dirt with a small stick. The sun was high. The wind was slow. Everything felt quiet. Suddenly, she heard a deep sound from the sky. It was loud and powerful. She looked up quickly and saw something silver moving across the blue sky. It was an airplane, big, shiny, and strong. It flew fast, leaving a white line behind it. Emily stood up, eyes wide, heart racing. The plane looked like magic. She watched it until it disappeared behind the clouds. But in her heart, something had just begun. She couldn't stop thinking about it. That night, she lay in bed staring at the ceiling. She wasn't sleepy. Her mind was flying like the plane. She imagined the pilot sitting in the front, looking out, controlling the machine. She imagined the sky, so big, so open, like a road without an end. "Can I do it too?" she whispered. "Can a girl like me fly a plane?" She got out of bed and walked to the small window. The sky outside was full of stars. They looked close, like they were calling her. She put her hand on the window glass and whispered again, "I want to be a pilot." The stars didn't answer, but something in her heart said, "Yes, you can." Her mother heard her voice and came into the room. "Emily, why are you awake?" she asked gently. Emily turned to her. Her eyes were glowing with excitement. "Mama," she said, "I want to fly. I want to be a pilot one day." Her mother looked surprised. For a moment, she didn't say anything. Then she smiled softly and sat beside her. "That's a beautiful dream, Emily," she said. "But it's a big dream," Emily nodded. "Yes, but big dreams are the best ones." Her mother kissed her forehead. "Then promise me one thing," she said. "Never give up, no matter how hard it gets." Emily looked into her mother's eyes and said, "I promise." From that night, something inside Emily changed. She was still a girl from a small town. She still didn't know how planes worked. She didn't speak good English. She didn't have money or books or even the internet. But now, she had something powerful. She had a reason. She had a dream. And even though no one else believed it yet, she believed in herself. The next morning, Emily woke up early. The sky was still soft and pink, and the sun was just rising. But she felt something new inside her, a fire. She sat up in bed, looked out the window, and whispered to herself, "This is the beginning." She didn't know how to become a pilot. She didn't know where to go or what to study. But she knew one thing. She had to start somewhere, and she had to start now. At school, she paid more attention than ever. She listened carefully in every class. But she quickly saw a problem. Her English was not strong. She could not understand many new words. When the teacher gave long lessons, she felt lost. She sat in silence, her hands folded on the desk. Other kids laughed and talked. They looked confident, but Emily felt small. She wanted to speak, but her tongue felt heavy. She was afraid they would laugh at her if she made a mistake. So she stayed quiet. After school, she came home and told her mother, "I want to learn English. I want to speak well. Pilots must speak good English, right?" Her mother nodded. "Yes, Emily. Pilots talk to airports, to people from other countries. English is very important." Emily took a deep breath. "Then I must learn it, even if it's hard." She didn't have a computer or a phone, but she found an old radio in the kitchen drawer. It still worked. She turned it on and searched for English stations. At night, when her parents were asleep, she sat by the window with a notebook. She listened to the radio, slowly repeating the words she heard. Sometimes she wrote them down. Sometimes she just whispered them over and over. Altitude, control, flight, permission to land. These words became her new friends. Some nights she got tired. Her eyes closed while the radio was still playing. But when she woke up, she opened her notebook again. She never stopped. She was hungry to learn. She knew English was not just a language, it was a door to her dream. At school, she started speaking small sentences. At first, her voice shook. A few classmates laughed, but she didn't stop. Every day, her words became stronger. The teacher noticed her. One day, she asked, "Emily, what do you want to become when you grow up?" Emily stood up slowly and said, "I want to be a pilot." The class laughed, but the teacher didn't. She smiled and said, "Then you must learn with courage. Pilots don't give up." Those words stayed in Emily's heart. Emily kept going. Day after day, night after night, she studied. Her friends played outside, but she stayed home and practiced English. She used her notebook like a treasure chest. Every new word was like a tiny piece of gold. She listened to the radio and repeated everything out loud. Her pronunciation was not perfect, but she tried. She tried with all her heart. Her parents noticed her hard work. Her father said, "You are working so hard, Emily. Are you sure this is what you want?" Emily looked at him and said, "Yes, Dad. I want to fly one day. I don't know how I will do it yet, but I will do it." But not everyone believed in her. Some neighbors said, "Girls don't fly planes." Some laughed and whispered behind her back, "She thinks she will go to the sky. Look at her shoes. She can't even buy new ones." Even at school, some students made jokes. "Hey, pilot girl, flying with paper wings today?" Emily heard everything. It hurt, but she never answered them. She kept her head down and kept walking. One day, she went to the town library to ask for books on flying. The librarian looked confused. "Books on flying?" she asked. "No one here asks for that." Emily smiled politely and said, "I am not like everyone. I have a dream." The librarian's face changed. She nodded slowly and brought her 2 old books. "Take these. They are not much, but they may help you." Emily held the books like they were gifts from the sky. But things got harder at home, too. Her father's crops didn't grow well that year. There was not enough rain. Her mother lost one of her jobs. Money became a problem. Sometimes they had only 1 meal a day. Emily started feeling guilty. "Maybe I should stop," she thought. "Maybe I should work and help my family instead." That night, she looked at the sky again. It was full of clouds, no stars, just darkness. She closed her eyes and whispered, "Please don't take my dream away." The next morning, her mother gave her a hug. "Emily," she said, "I know times are hard, but your dream is light, and we need light in this house. Don't stop." Her mother's words gave her new strength. Emily decided to help her family and still keep studying. She woke up earlier, did housework, helped her mother clean, and still studied at night. She was tired, but she smiled through it. She was walking a hard road, but every step was taking her closer to the sky. Emily was now 17. Her body had grown stronger from all the hard work, but her eyes still held the same old dream. Every morning she helped her mother cook breakfast and clean the house. Then she would go out to work. Sometimes she worked in a field. Sometimes she helped clean houses. It was not easy. Her hands hurt. Her back hurt. But she never complained. She kept going. Inside her heart, she always said, "One day I will fly. One day I will become a pilot." She still practiced her English every day. She used an old book that someone had thrown away. Its pages were torn and faded, but to Emily, it was a treasure. She read each line aloud, slowly. At first, her pronunciation was poor, but she kept trying. She repeated each word again and again. When she walked alone, she spoke in English to herself. When she sat alone, she wrote small English sentences in her notebook. She didn't have anyone to correct her mistakes, but she never stopped learning. She believed that one day her English would help her reach her goal. People around her kept laughing. Some said, "Why is she speaking English? She's not going anywhere." Others said, "Why is she wasting time with books? Girls like her should work, get married, and forget such foolish dreams." But Emily didn't listen. Every time someone laughed, she smiled. She had learned to smile through pain. That smile was her strength. No one knew how tired she was. No one saw how many times she cried at night. But each morning she stood up again. She cleaned her face, tied her hair, and wore hope like a scarf. At night, when the village slept, Emily would sit under the stars. She looked at the sky and talked to it like a friend. "Wait for me," she would whisper. "I'm coming." The stars gave her comfort. They didn't judge her. They just listened. She often imagined herself in a white uniform, sitting in a big plane, greeting people with confidence. She imagined flying over to her village, waving down to her mother and saying, "We did it." But the road was still long. Her mother got sick sometimes. They didn't have enough money. The roof leaked when it rained. Some days they had very little to eat. Still, Emily never gave up. She worked more, saved every rupee she could, and studied in every free moment. She prayed a lot. Her faith gave her strength. She didn't know when her time would come, but she believed it would come. That year, Emily made a big decision. She would take a risk. She found a cheap internet shop 2 towns away. She walked 2 hours just to use it. She searched for flying schools that accepted poor students or gave scholarships. She found one that looked promising. She copied the address in her notebook. She didn't have a computer or a phone, but she had a strong will. That was enough for her. But she knew she wasn't lucky. She wasn't rich. But she had something more powerful. She had determination. She had a heart. She had a dream that burned like fire inside her. And that was why, even after all the pain, even after all the problems, Emily kept moving forward, step by step, day by day. Because deep down, she believed something amazing. If you keep walking, one day the road will take you to your dream. One morning, as Emily swept the small library floor, a man in a suit entered. He looked around and asked if there was someone named Emily working there. Nervously, she raised her hand. He handed her a paper and said, "Congratulations. You've been selected for an interview at the National Aviation Scholarship Program." For a moment, Emily stood frozen. She didn't understand. "Me?" she asked. The man smiled and said, "Yes, you. Your school sent your name. They believe in you." That night, Emily could hardly sleep. Her heart beat fast with a mix of fear and joy. She had just 1 week to prepare. She pulled out all the books she had borrowed about flying and about interview questions. She practiced speaking English in front of her cracked mirror, smiling through her nervousness. Her mother helped her iron her only good dress. Her little brother found a notebook and made her write down things she wanted to say. Everyone in the house became part of her dream. On the day of the interview, Emily took the early morning bus to the city. She sat near the window, watching the rising sun. She whispered to herself, "Today could change my life." The flying school building was tall and white. She had never seen such a place before. There were many other girls there, most of them wearing fancy clothes, speaking fluent English. Emily felt small, but she reminded herself of everything she had faced, everything she had survived. "I am no less," she told herself. "I am ready." When her turn came, she entered the room and greeted the panel in her best English. She spoke clearly, honestly, and with passion. She told them how she came from a village where people don't dream big. She shared how she learned English by reading and practicing alone. She explained why flying was not just a job for her, it was her purpose. She said, "I want to rise, and I want to show others like me that they can rise too." The interviewers listened. They nodded. One of them smiled and said, "You've got heart, Emily, and you've got wings." She stepped out of the room with shaky legs but a proud heart. Whether she got selected or not, she knew she had already won something huge, her own respect. A week later, a letter arrived at her home. Her mother opened it with trembling hands. Emily read the words again and again, hardly believing. "Congratulations. You have been awarded a full scholarship." She had made it. She was going to flying school. Her family screamed with joy. Her mother cried. Emily stood outside, looked up at the sky, and whispered, "Thank you." The road had been long, full of pain and doubt, but now the sky has opened for her. Emily stepped into the flying school with nervous excitement. Everything was new, new faces, new routines, and a completely different world. The buildings were big and clean. The hallways smelled like fresh polish. Everyone spoke English fast, and most of the students had come from big cities or foreign countries. Some of them looked at Emily's simple clothes and in a quiet manner with surprise. But she didn't care. She had already walked a road that most of them couldn't even imagine. The first few weeks were hard. She had to study long hours, learn difficult flying rules, and practice speaking in front of the class. She sometimes cried at night in her small hostel room. She missed her home, her mother's hands on her head, her little brother's jokes. But then she reminded herself why she was here. She would look out of the window, see the airplanes taking off, and whisper to herself, "You didn't come this far to stop now." One day during training, her instructor asked her to sit in the cockpit of a real plane. Emily's heart raced. She touched the controls with shaky hands. The instructor smiled and said, "Emily, fly." That moment felt like magic. The engine roared, the wheels turned, and slowly, the plane lifted off the ground. As the plane rose higher and higher, her fear melted into joy. She looked at the clouds around her and thought, "This is what I was born for." Months passed, and Emily started becoming one of the best students in her batch. Her teachers praised her discipline. Her classmates slowly began to admire her quiet strength. She helped others with difficult lessons. She even gave a small speech once in front of the class about how she had learned English from books and shadows on the wall. Her words touched many hearts. Some students even cried. For the first time, she saw that her story was not just hers. It was a light for others who were lost. Finally, the day of graduation came. Emily wore her pilot uniform for the first time. It was crisp and white with shiny buttons. Her mother and brother had come to watch. Her mother wore the same old scarf, but her eyes were full of pride. When Emily walked onto the stage and received her pilot wings, the whole hall clapped. But no one clapped louder than her little brother. That night, as she stood under the open sky with her family, Emily remembered the dark days, the dust, the hunger, the rejection, the pain. And she smiled. She had flown above it all. She had made it. Not just as a pilot, but as a symbol. A girl from a forgotten village had touched the clouds. Emily now flies planes across countries. Every time she holds the controls, she remembers where she came from. She visits schools and villages, telling children, especially girls, that dreams are real, and they belong to everyone, not just the rich, not just lucky, but also to the ones who work hard, cry quietly, and rise again and again. Emily's story is no longer just a story. It is a sky full of stars, and one of those stars belongs to a little girl who once chased shadows in a broken room and ended up flying through the clouds. Thank you so much for listening to this story. We hope it helped you learn English in a better and more meaningful way. Stories are not just for fun, they are powerful tools for learning. When we hear a story like Emily's, we don't just understand the words, we feel the emotions, and that helps us remember the language. If you are learning English, remember, you are not alone. Many people around the world are learning just like you. Some are shy, some make mistakes, some feel like giving up. But just like Emily, you must keep going. Emily started her journey with fear in her heart. She was scared to speak in front of others. Her English was not strong and people laughed at her. But she didn't give up. She kept practicing even when no one believed in her. She read English books, watched English videos, and listened to English stories just like the one you listen to today. And slowly, she changed. Her words became clear. Her confidence grew. She started helping others too. In the end, she didn't just learn English, she built a new life, a better life, a life she once only dreamed about. This story was created for people like you who want to learn English through real stories. When you listen, you are not just learning grammar or vocabulary. You are learning how to express your feelings, your dreams, and your thoughts in a new language. And that is powerful. Never think your English is not good enough. Every day you try, every time you practice, you are improving. So, keep listening to these stories. Keep practicing every day. Don't stop because you're tired. Don't quit because someone else is better. Your journey is your own. Believe in yourself, just like Emily did. One day, you will speak English with confidence. One day, your story will inspire someone else too, and we will be here cheering for you.